Ladies and gentlemen, anywhere, at any time, you are not alone. Just reach out. Someone will listen. All right. We are finally recording. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is JK'z Rewatchable Hour. I am your host, J Dubs. We have a very, very, very special show tonight. We have a new individual, and I will introduce her in a minute. This show is about the importance of knowing that you have somebody you can turn to, that you can rely on, whether it's a stranger or somebody you know. And I like to just introduce everybody that we are with. And, as I said, when we get uploaded, nobody's going to be in the spot. So up at the top of my screen is my wife, Jen. How you doing, Jen?
Good.
Below her, all the way from Missouri, is Miss Maureen Miller. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good.
And now, depending on where you're looking, below her is Miss Emily from Arkansas. How are you, Emily?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing very well. And to the left of her, which it won't matter because when it gets uploaded, nobody's going to be in that position, is Miss Deb Maxwell. How are you?
Hi, Jeff. I'm doing good.
Good. And last but certainly not least is my cousin, Kayla. How are you doing?
Hi, guys. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. First of all, I just want to thank all of you ladies for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know it's Friday. We made it. Woo-hoo! And I just want to say thank you for taking your time out of your busy lives and schedules to come on the show. We're gonna, first, what I'll just do is, we'll talk about the John Bon Jovi incident. For anybody who's listening and or watching, what had happened is several months ago or whatever, he was shooting a music video. He saw an individual on the bridge, and he immediately stopped what he was doing, and he went over and he talked with this individual and ended up saving this individual's life. Now, why is that important? Because, and this is not me to tell everybody's story, but everybody knows why people are on the show. People on the show lost a loved one. And I think the importance of having somebody to reach out to just solidifies and magnifies the importance of being able to talk to someone.
Yes.
Anybody want to touch on?
This morning, I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened very recently in my life. My daughter attempted suicide on Monday. And what I was going to share is there was no indication that she was going to do such a thing. She lives with me. I went to work. The one thing I will say, she had talked about quitting her job and not going back. And I did think that was odd, but I just thought she didn't like something at her job. After I left to work, she started, I guess she took some pills. Luckily, her twin sister was here and she swallowed some toilet bowl cleaner with bleach. And when I heard that, I mean, I was already at my job, but that just blew me away because I knew she was damn serious. And the paramedics came and it was a nightmare because I was watching it on my Ring camera, them taking her out on the stretcher, and that Lysol toilet bowl cleaner was on the stretcher. And, I called a good friend of mine and she wanted to make sure I was okay to drive. I came and got my other daughter, her twin sister, and we went to the hospital. And it was really, really scary because it was like a deja vu of when my son did that. Or no, he had a brain injury, but it was the same hospital, the same ER. They had to intubate her. And that was for a couple days. And my biggest concern, they had to do an EGD and make sure that there was no that something had not happened to her esophagus, that there was no damage. And miraculously, there was no damage, and her cognitive was fine. It. I believe it was a cry for help, but like I said, there was no indication. No, but there is such a stigma with the mental health. I didn't even think around me, because she's had problems before. I didn't think she would be as embarrassed as she is. She doesn't want to look at me. She just wants to sleep. And, until they're going to have this team of doctors talk to her, professionals, psychiatric and psychologist, um, figure out, I guess, where she'll go. But you know, it was just such a situation that she'd been really happy. She had cooked, I had been sick with a respiratory infection. She had served me meals in my bedroom. I mean, just been super, super, super nice. Not an indication in the world that she was going to do this. But thank God she did not succeed. And so, if she had been by herself, I mean, drinking that stuff, she was totally not with it when the paramedics came. And then she was, not responsive at all. So, that's just a different story of suicide. This is a suicide attempt. But, right now she is not wanting to talk about anything. And that's kind of not like her. So my having patience and waiting and going ahead and doing what I have to do, is what's going on right now. But I know she's ashamed. Her twin didn't come see her for a few days, and she said, does she hate me? Does she not want to talk to me? Does she hate me? Why hasn't she been up here? And my brother and his wife wanted to come. She said, no, I don't want any visitors. So that's just another, just kind of a different realm of, of an attempt to suicide. So, you know,
I'd like to point out something that Maureen said. She said that there is a stigma around mental health, and her mentioned her daughter's embarrassed to talk about what happened. And it's because there's this big stigma with mental health. People are ashamed, they're embarrassed, there's fear, there's negative stereotypes. Why? What can we do to change this?
Yeah, I'll just chime in with that. First, Maureen, thank you for sharing what you just shared. Just literally days after, what you explained. Thank you for sharing that. Obviously you all see my post. Mental health is not a joke, and the stigma needs to stop. It needs to, like, you all see what I post. I just think, like, sorry for how I'm going to say this, but I think all the bullshit just needs to stop. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you may think of this person. Maybe at this particular time, this one particular person just needs to talk or vent or just have somebody listen. And there is no word that can describe anybody, because whatever may say work for Jen may not work for Maureen, and so on. Maureen, I'm sorry, so on and so forth. And you have to take each individual as a person and understand that, like, mental health is real. It's not just what people think. If somebody sees somebody lashing out, they think, oh, you got a problem. Well, no, well, maybe what led up to all that lashing out, or why is somebody quiet? Why is somebody, just being to themselves? So I just say, break the stigma. Stop with all the BS.
Well, and I'm going to go back to the video that Emily shared in our little group conversation that we have up on Facebook. 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
8 minutes. And I am going to take that video and please remind me, Emily, what the gentleman's name is, because he was fabulous.
Simon Sinek.
Absolutely just fabulous. when a person's reaching out and reaching out and reaching out, and they're always told, well, so many times it's not seen because, hey, can you come over? A person can look at that message as, well, that's just a normal invite. But the way that this message came about with him today that you shared, 8 minutes, and that friend sent him that little, hey, can you come over? He didn't understand. But if you use 8 minutes, hey, do you have 8 minutes as a code, a safe word,
Right.
a reach out safe word? Hey, do you have 8 minutes? That way, if that gets shared more and more and more, because I'm putting it up on the groups page, I'm going to be putting it up on Instagram, I'm going to put it up on the website, use it as a safe word. So if a person's note reaches out and says, hey, do you have 8 minutes? Then you know they need 8 minutes of your time just so you can listen, just so you can be there. Everybody has 8 minutes.
Yeah, and I remember I was watching a video today at work, and I'll have to share it with Kayla and Jen. I remember that Simon, right, was taking his phone. He's like, you didn't tell me that you needed my help. You just said, can you come over? And as you were saying that, Deb, I mean, you're right. How many people, to me, and again, this is just my opinion. I think that is a way of somebody asking for help without directly saying, hey, Kayla, what are you doing tonight about 7 o'clock? You want to go get coffee? If somebody just says, hey, can you come over? I mean, I think that that's a very, very powerful asking for help, I
Right.
think.
Right.
Because, like Emily asked, how do we break it? First of all, you got to stop making fun of people. Yeah,
Yes.
we all like to joke around, but, you got to stop judging people. You got to stop making fun of people because they may be different. They may be acting different. Nobody ever knows. And yeah, if my phone went off right now and somebody said, hey, can you come over? Can we talk? To me, that is a reach out of something. So for whatever it could be. So Jen or Kayla or Maureen, you guys want to add anything or?
Well, I think, people still, there's a lot of people that don't want to go get counseling. They don't want to accept help or talk about their problems. And the problem is, if you don't talk about your problems, they certainly don't go away. That's part of what my daughter's deal was. You stuff it, and then a couple of years later, that stuff surfaces, and you don't want to talk about it. And I there's no shame in seeking counseling.
Okay. Jen? Oh, it's
Well,
just so everybody knows. So when somebody goes get ready to speak, their little box lights up. That's why I call them out. Go ahead, Jen.
but it's
Okay.
just like when we have survivors that join in with the group, and then they attend for a little bit, and it's like, well, we don't need it anymore. Or when I go to events out and about, and all the survivors come up and they think it's absolutely great that there's a support group and this and that, but they don't want to come and talk. And I think it's for that same exact thing, not only the stigma that's attached to suicide, but I think a lot of people are ashamed to come out and say that a person that they know died by suicide. They don't want to talk about that because that same stigma is still over all mental health and suicide. So we have to break it all. And the
Yep.
way I look at it, that we have to break it all, the more we talk and put right out on this platform, which I thank you very much, Jeff, yet again for providing this. And the more it gets shared, it's gonna start breaking down. I, for one, will not be quiet about it.
Absolutely. And, as I was listening to you talk, or and I lost my train of thought. See, this is why I got to make notes. So I'm just gonna just sip it real quick. I'm trying to think of my thoughts. So somebody else can continue. Cheapers. I apologize. Oh, the one thing that we got to stop doing to society is like stop being followers. Like, if somebody is making, say, just fun of Jen and everybody else joins in, that's a follower. But what you got to do is maybe understand, why is this person like being like this? Accept people, because you don't know what they've been through. And it's not
Right.
always easy. I know I fail a lot. I do. Um, and if you see somebody struggling for whatever reason, just say hi to them. It's like I was trying to explain to Maureen, Emily, and Deb today. Just every once in a while, like once a week, I'll just send our group just our message. Hey, ladies, how you doing? Hope everything's well. That just to me opens up any type of a door for anybody to say, well, you know what, I'm not having a good day. And I think that sometimes that's just what some people need. And again, like I said earlier, what works for one may not work for everybody. But if you ask somebody how they're doing, that is just an open conversation to where somebody could say, you know what, I need to talk, as opposed to not saying anything to anyone and just letting them feel like they're alone, which is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's important to check in with people. It's some people don't want to tell you their problems because they don't want to feel like a burden. They don't think you have time. So it's important to kind of just take a few minutes, once a week to just check in with everybody, like all your people. And I know personally, like when I notice somebody's been quiet or their vibe feels off, I always kind of check in. Hey, you good? Like, you need to talk? I'm here. If you just want to just kind of sit in silence together, I'm happy to do that too.
That's very, very important. And one thing for me, being a older person, I prefer a phone call. I like that personal contact. Especially after the loss of my son, I wanted somebody to either be with me or give me a phone call and say, hey, I'm thinking of you. I'll be right over. Because the last thing I wanted to hear is, if you need anything, call me. It's like,
call.
Yeah.
I have just lost a part of my life. I'm not picking up the phone and calling anybody. If I'm that important to you, be here with me. You make the time and you're there. You be real. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't. And that's everything today has gotten so computerized, impersonal, inhuman. How about we take a step back and go back to being people with real feelings?
I also think, people say, well, I didn't know what to say. And if you could just sit there and listen, like Deb, you've shared that before. If you can just listen, you might be amazed what's on the person's mind and what they will talk about.
Yep.
I will actually go just piggyback off what you just said, because of Deb, Emily, and Maureen, is why I reached out to Kayla and the rest of the family. And I remember telling Jen, I'm like, I am so nervous to do this, and I think I did say I didn't know what to say, which I felt bad for saying, but I didn't know any other way. And but the point I'm trying to make is, if you just reach out to somebody, that's what they want. They want you, an individual, to reach out. And as I was including everybody, I was really nervous, and I was trying to word everything correctly. And luckily, I did not offend anybody, because that is one of the things that I was concerned about. And then Kayla immediately just reached out and said, "Oh, I would love to, and so." But my point is, because Deb, Emily, and Maureen said, no, reach out to them, and they were sharing their stories. I'm like, okay. And I remember I was nervous. I was breathing heavy, but because of them, I'm like, okay, you guys are going to give me the strength. And, and I remember I told Jen, I'm like, okay, here goes nothing. And so for that, you guys are right. Just reach out to somebody, because that's what people want. They don't want well, if you need anything, let me know. They want you to pick up the phone, or if you can visit and or whatever. So I just wanted to share that part that I learned from Deb, Emily, and Maureen.
Well, when I was in the ER with Lindsay, I was just in shock and just, I couldn't even think straight. But I called a friend of mine, and she's a little bit older, and she said, I don't know what to say. She did not have to say anything. She just was there for me. I did all the talking. That was not a problem. I let her know what was going on and all that, but that she was available and that she cared enough. It didn't matter that she said, I don't know what to say, because, people don't know how to react.
Kayla?
Just being there, I think, is really important. And I think someone had mentioned it in the last podcast. People are there, at the beginning, and then all of a sudden they're not. So it's nice to have somebody to carry through with you after all of, the beginnings. So you still have to heal. You still have, and you need these people for forever, really. And I think it's good to have that support system, even if it's a friend from 500 miles away. Just being on the phone and talking with them is really important.
I like what Kayla said. She said, even if you have to sit in silence, just being there. Deb has emphasized this to us so much, just going and sitting with someone and listening, and how important that is. And it can make a difference.
So, Kayla, I don't know if you had watched the previous episode, and again, it's not my place to share the story, but each Maureen, Emily, and Deb, and I'm not like trying to put you on the spot. There was a time when people just like stopped. They just like there was nobody there, and that's why this is another reason why we're doing this show is when this gets edited, there will be little reels that I'll create for each town that they live in, so people around them know that they're not alone and that you can reach out.
It's really cool.
And to be honest, to feel like I'm not going to put Jen on the spot, but last night we did a show and it wasn't recording, but I could see her reaction to something. And because I don't think things, I tried texting her, but she's currently on her phone, so she couldn't see. But I recognized that she wasn't okay because of something that was said. Again, it doesn't need to be said, but I think that's also important, in my opinion. If you see something, just ask. I mean, you can sit there and I could be like, "Hey, Dad, what's wrong?" She can say no, nothing's wrong 1,000 times, but perhaps just that one time. And just to close what I was saying about Jen. So after we ended the show, I just briefly talked to her, and I'm like, "Is this what?" And she, just I think recognizing. I'm just trying not to just give away too much, but just to recognize stuff like that. I think that's really important.
Yes.
We also talked about the role of social media and how many people express their emotional pain or share images depicting their distress, and the importance of recognizing these posts as potential cries for help rather than dismissing them as attention seeking. It's so vital. Positive interactions on social media, supportive comments and messages, that can help, but we keep seeing this same situation happening where somebody is reaching out for help on social media, they're getting ignored, someone takes their life, and everybody feels bad. They didn't do anything. Why are we not paying attention to that?
Right. Exactly. How is it that it's allowed to be up on social media and not flagged and have attention taken to it right then and there. Because people don't want to say, oh, I was the whistleblower. Be the damn whistleblower.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, with the whole, sorry, go ahead, Deb.
My son didn't do any of those things. But we didn't have that opportunity. But there's too many young people, way too many young people that put it all up there. And they have a chance to be saved. And shame on the people who sit back and not stop it.
Jen,
I
before I say my,
have
oh, go ahead, Emily.
my son put a post on Instagram about 35 minutes before he passed away, and it was a goodbye post. And it went on his story, and about 200 people saw it, but I didn't get a phone call for over 6 hours. And that could have changed if I'd gotten a phone call sooner. I mean, it could have changed everything. Or maybe it could have.
Jen.
It's
And
hard.
that's where I'm saying that's baloney. Sorry.
No, you're, you know, just my take on the whole social media. If you guys, obviously, you guys know how much I post and blah blah blah. The thing with social media is, and I was thinking about whether or not I should give my opinion, and I'm gonna say it because of, you know, Emily, you said that your son 35 minutes had put a post, and 200 people saw it, and nobody did a friggin' thing. So, you know, if you're a movie star or somebody important or a sports person and you put a post like that, you're going to have 15 million people immediately reach out.
Exactly.
And even though I spend a lot of my time and I'm trying to make a living off social media, that part of the social media is like the dark web to me, because you know, and I'm just going to throw out one of the biggest names in sports ever, LeBron James. If LeBron James writes a tweet or a Facebook or whatever and says, you know what, I'm not feeling myself, there's going to be 15 million people, hey, what can I do for you? But if, you know, Joe Schmo in a small town of 400 people says, man, I just wish I had some friends, it's going to be like, well, you know, you're a loser. And that's wrong. And I'd like to think that I am an advocate for a lot of people because I don't follow people and I see things that other people just refuse to see. And I don't always see everything, and that's like a double negative. I get that, but like if I saw a post from any one of you where I thought like it was important, I would immediately reach out. And but because people are not popular, they're not doing the latest TikTok craze, or they don't have enough followers because that's what society wants people to believe is important in life. They listen to all the wrong people. And that's just my opinion. I'm not asking anybody to agree or disagree. That is just what life has come to. If you're not the top TikToker or whatever, you're just, you know, and people are not allowed to be who they are. They're not allowed. They have to be something different, because that's what the trend is, and that's wrong and that's bullshit.
I agree.
I agree. And why do people have to be a different personality to get attention? Why can't you just be yourself?
Everything you see on TV, my personal opinion, you know, you go out and you get, say, Shaquille O'Neal, who has 15 what do you call it, endorsements. Oh, so you know, so Shaquille O'Neal does it, so I should go and buy this product. And everybody wants to be the next big thing, and instead of just being themselves, you know, and I'm speaking from experience. I used to be a huge follower. I wanted to be this person, that person. I did everything that everybody else was doing until I decided to be my own self. And that's what life to me is about, is just being your own self. You don't have to be anybody else, you know. And everybody sees, you know, these college players now, the NIL, I don't know if you know what that means, but now college players can make money. So now they want to go to college and be the next big thing, make money and not put in any work. And if they don't, then they're like, oh, I'm not as good as everybody else. When in reality, everybody is just as good as everybody if you just believe in yourself. But because of what's on TV, the movies, every ad that you see, there's some big time millionaire, sports star, movie star, and or whatever, cologne, clothes, McDonald's, this car, this product. And to me, it's just whatever. That's just my opinion. And it's sad. It's sad that we live in a world where you have to look up to people who don't give a damn about you. And instead of a surrounding that is close to you that would be more beneficial than just some mega millionaire, billionaire. So. But,
Yep.
So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just going to take a quick commercial break, which means I'm just going to stop recording and we're going to come right back. And so don't go anywhere, everybody. Okay, once again, we are back from commercial break. I am joined by my wife, Jen, Maureen, Emily, Deb, and my cousin, Kayla. How are you ladies doing? Ready for the second part of the show?
Yep. Sure.
Yes.
Okay, my allergies are working with me, so I haven't had to sneeze too much. So I'm sure that we're all familiar, if you're not, with Zoe Hollins from Myrtle Beach. She was the young individual who went on social media basically asking for help, and she didn't get none, and she ended up taking her life, which is piggybacking off what we were just talking about, how people are reaching out and getting nothing. I don't really have a lot of information on it. I don't know if Emily has more information than I do.
I don't have any more information than what you shared, but I just want to emphasize that it's so important that we help each other. And don't we have the basic responsibility as a human being, if you see someone that needs help, to try to help them?
Mhm.
Bon Jovi saw that girl struggling on the bridge.
Yeah.
There is a gentleman that his name is Kevin Hines, and he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and he survived. But before he jumped, he was walking down the bridge and he was crying. And people passed by him and they didn't say
Right.
anything.
Right.
And someone actually stopped him and asked if they would allow him to would he take a picture of them? And he was
Yes.
crying.
Wow. That's very shitty.
Yeah. That is one story that, please familiarize yourself with him. Kevin Hines. Yes. He has been across the country sharing his story, and has a huge organization now for survivors. He is one of the main causes that they now have a net going underneath the bridge out there to try to sway people from jumping off from that bridge. Yes.
And he's one of the few that have jumped and survived. He actually was saved by a sea lion.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I definitely have to research this. Yes.
He's a very good mental health advocate.
Very much so.
Definitely. Jen, I know that the last time we had the girls on and we were doing a show, you had a couple questions, but you did not get a chance to ask. Do you want to ask your questions or?
I just had a question. You said that your friends, after a while, they stopped calling and everything, asking how you were, reaching out. How about your son's friends? Did they come around, or were they in your life any after?
Which one you
My
asked?
son, I don't know who you're. My son's friends, surprisingly, did a lot at the funeral. The one kid, his dad, they owned a restaurant and he catered the entire thing. And I've seen the one kid that was with my son when he died, he was on drugs also. He attempted to take his life the next day after Kevin. He got help and he's been sober ever since my son died. So that's a reward. That's a wonderful thing right there. And I did reach out to him about a year ago. So to let him know that I didn't hold any of that against him, that I forgave him, and he's doing okay now.
Awesome. That's an actual, that's a great question. Deb or Emily or Kaylee, do you guys want to, I mean, go ahead, Emily.
My son was 17 years old, and this since he was 17, the school provided grief counseling for all of the students. And my son also worked at Kroger, and they did that as well. And I think that really helped all of his friends. They were better equipped to communicate, and they have stayed in contact with me. And they have not been inappropriate. And it's really shocked me because you would think that, I've got older family members and friends that have been inappropriate. And these kids have been just so gracious and understanding and kind. And I appreciate it so much.
That's good that the school provided and his
Yeah.
employment provided help. That probably helped those kids a lot.
Bob was 34 years old when he became an angel. I had individuals that I seriously got cards, sympathy card in the mail stating, not sure what to say or anything, but when you're done with this, get back in touch with me, okay? And it's like, you're talking my grief. You're talking grief for my son. No. Family members that, no, they're null and void. They're no place around. Bob's friends. I had a young man who stopped over because beginning of this month marked 11 years. And people just assume that after 11 years, it just starts evening out. That doesn't happen. One of his friends, childhood friends, there was 3 of them that they all used to run together, and I was mom. I was mom to all of them. The one he paid me a visit for the first time in 10 years. And we sat here and talked, and he said to me, it hurt him so much to even be in Elmira that he had to leave this city because of all the memories. So he left. And he apologized to me because, God love him, he said, you needed me and I wasn't there. So now we stay in touch. The other son from the 3 of them, he lives right here and we communicate. We stay in touch. Other people, it's amazing now that they know that there's a support group and they know that I started it because of Bob, the stories that I hear about these people that knew him, that I didn't know that they knew him. People just need to know, sharing those stories, those memories, that means the world. That helps heal. That gives out a huge glimmer of love that he shared with other people.
A few weeks ago, when I had pictures of Kevin sitting on the coffee table when we were going to do that podcast, my daughter saw that and just freaked out and started crying. And I have mentioned the one that's in the hospital. I have mentioned it to her more than once. Why don't you join our group, Smile Through the Storms, and you'd be able to talk about it and share your feelings. And she has not. And when she was even intubated the other day, Monday or Tuesday, they let her write on paper, and she had this big black marker and pen and paper, and she wrote down one of the things that was bothering her was Kevin. She hasn't dealt with his death. That's been 3 years ago. She has not dealt with his death. You know, so
Yeah, so we lost my brother the day after his 20th birthday. And his friends, they were really great. They were there for the funeral. They were there for quite a while, and then slowly, everybody's growing up, doing their own thing. But there is one of his very close friends that will, I see him all the time. He stops in and visits my parents, at least once or twice a month. It's been really nice to have him around. And then one of his other friends, I hadn't seen him in, oh my goodness. We lost Eric in 2010, so I hadn't seen him in probably, good portion of a decade. His father passed, and I saw him at the funeral, and seeing his face just kind of brought me right back to Eric. So it was very bittersweet to see him, just seeing his face and knowing that he was doing good, but like just remembering how tight they were. But it was really nice because he told me that he kind of uses Eric's, values and his sense of humor, and that's kind of how he keeps going through it. He thinks of Eric a lot, and he let me know that, and I really appreciated it.
Kayla, just sorry, just listen to you ladies talk. I just want to say thank you for having the courage to share that. The strength, all of you ladies. Jen, that was an excellent question. I never even thought of that myself. We always talk about the immediate family and friends. We just never think of the individual's immediate friends. So Jen, that was an excellent question. What was your second question, Jen? Oh,
I don't know how to word it. Deb, do other, I don't know how to word this. You put me on the spot. I know you have a support group for people, family who have passed by suicide. Have other people reached out to you, like their loved ones have passed in a different manner? Like, have you had people reach out to you about that?
I have. I've had a number of people that have reached out, contacted me, and inquired if overdose would be, if they would be accepted up into the group because their loved one died as an overdose. And I have played. I've talked with the girls and everything, other members of the group. And I played back and forth with maybe extending and opening. I'm not really for sure yet, but because that's just as a traumatic, though on a different level as what suicide is, because they have the same questions. Why? What could we have done? This and that. So yes, I have.
I just want to go back to the whole social media thing, because I think we're all in agreement. And we've been on the air for about 40 minutes, and this is the first time Kayla has met Deb, Emily, and Maureen, and here are 6 people from all different walks of life just talking normal and sharing stories and listening and trying to help one another while trying to help the masses. And like Emily earlier, you said, how do we change that? Just like this, just stop the bullshit. Just stop, like, just stop it all. It's just not worth it. It's stupid. Like, you know, like I said, social media and movie stars and TV actors and all that's what is molding the minds of people and thinking that's how it's got to be, when in reality it doesn't. It's not. And if 6 people here on a Friday in March can sit here and talk openly, honestly, with respect, imagine what would happen if millions of people could do exactly what we're doing right now.
Right.
Another
And-
thing is all of those influencers and, you know, famous people, they only show you what they want to show you. They only show you
Mhm.
what good has happened. There's not enough talk about the fact that life isn't perfect and bad things happen and we all go through them. But when you only see one side, you kind of think you're doing life wrong, or you know, something's just not, you're failing because everybody else's life looks so perfect on the internet.
And you know,
Absolutely.
one thing more that I want to add about the social media, back shortly after Emily became part of the group, there was a post that was shared up on Facebook, and it said, "The faces of suicide." And it showed Robin Williams, who I love and adore, Miss America. I'm no good with names, so please forgive me on this. Miss America, and there was like 3 or 4 other.
Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I took that. That was like a huge slap across the face to me, being a survivor. Okay. Because, like I said, I love Robin Williams, but my son is just as damn important to me as what Robin Williams is to not only his family, but all of, you know, the country, the world, because of who he was. But don't say that that's the face of suicide. And did I not finagle away? And I put
Yes.
my son's picture right up on there and put that all over Facebook. I did the same thing for Joey. Put Joey's
Yes.
picture up on
Yes.
there.
Yes. I
It's
remember
like,
that meeting very well because I was angry about how much attention Miss America was getting.
yes, it's like our loved ones are important too. So it's just like the suicide doesn't really hit home until you love one of the numbers. Well, the number that I love, his name's David Bub Sugar, and I put that up on Facebook today. It's like things have to change. That's why I love this platform, so I can use my voice more and more. Because people in my hometown are tired of hearing me.
You know, it's just yeah. Like I said, you know, I spend a lot of time on social media. Like, I don't care what the latest TikTok dance craze is. I don't care who's doing what. I just think like there's too much pressure on an individual. And I was thinking about this today at work. If you take an individual who's just sitting home and they feel like they have nothing, and all they see is these multimillionaires, you know, promoting this vehicle or this product or whatever, it starts to reflect in an individual's mind like, what's wrong with me, right?
Right.
And it's just stupid. Like, I Jen she hates it when we watch commercials because I'm just like, oh, another friggin' person. Like so you know, you go out and you get this celebrity or this actor or this sports person, and you think I'm gonna go buy this vehicle because this person, or I'm gonna go buy this product because of this person. No, I don't care. It's just so stupid, but that's why they do it. Like Kayla said, they don't tell you all the bad things. They just want to tell you the things that you want to hear. And it's mind games and it's stupid. And
Right.
like I had said, I'm going to reiterate it. Here's 6 people today on a Friday in March just talking. Why can't that expand to tomorrow 10 people, 15, 20, 30, 100?
Right.
Imagine what that would do.
Exactly.
You know, and I just, you know, I'm just thinking about, you know, not I mean I'm thinking about everybody who lost a loved one, plus the people who are reaching out, like in that video where the guy said 8 minutes, I just vaguely remember him just taking his phone going, you just asked if I could come over. I didn't know you were reaching out. Just how many people were reaching out and they got laughed at, or just, yeah, I don't have time for you, or the person walking on the bridge crying, somebody asked me to take a picture. Like, that's just stupid and pathetic. Whatever. Just, yeah, I don't know. I could keep on saying the same things over and over about that, but that would just, that just pisses me off when somebody just takes advantage of something. Like, you see somebody crying or having a bad day, but you need something from them. That's just wrong. That's stupid.
Yeah, we all have a basic responsibility to help each other. And
Yes.
I will say a couple of weeks ago, usually don't say too many great things about cops, but I was driving on this big highway and I saw cops all around on the side, and I had seen this guy that was right on the edge of the highway, like over the rail. And the cops, I saw later on the news that the cops had talked him out of doing that. He was ready to jump. So they did get him some help. So I did see that happen firsthand.
Good. Awesome. I like stories like that.
Yeah, because cops usually get the bad rap and all that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
and it's important for those stories to be shared.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was thinking about this topic while I was at work today. Just before I get on it, Kayla or Jen, do you have anything to add?
Depends on what you're gonna say.
No, I just with what was just said, I didn't know if you each had a thought or something you wanted to share. I just didn't want to just disrespect you by not asking.
No, just the social media has grown in years. It's great to promote your platform, to do your causes on, but there's also the dark side of social media where people are bullied and people are tormented that cause you to get depressed and cause just things that you wouldn't normally go through. It's social media is just, there's the good and the bad to it. That's all. And it's sad that people are disrespectful. They just need to keep their mouth shut.
Great.
I think a lot of that is bravery back behind a keyboard,
Yes.
because they wouldn't say and they would not do if they had to be face to face. They
Right.
wouldn't say and do.
Yep. Yeah.
Deb has brought up.
Go ahead.
Deb has brought up many times just the importance of going, if someone loses someone, whether it's suicide or any type of death, just the importance of going and sitting with that person and listening. And I feel like that's just so important. That's just not done. You don't say, call me if you need me.
Right. I think there's like a lack of empathy for
Yes,
others.
exactly.
Everybody's in too much of a damn hurry and they only care about what's going on in their world to really like stop and, check on someone, especially if you notice something's not right. That you can't be a decent person and just say, hey, are you okay? Would you like to talk? Just really being more empathetic, I think would help a lot.
Yeah.
100%. And like I had said earlier, because of Maureen, Emily, and Deb is why I reached out to my side of the family, and they're right. You all are right. You should reach out more often, and I'm going to try to be better at doing that.
Well, I was so touched, Jeff, by you reaching out to us and
Yes.
checking on us. That meant so much to me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it did. And I appreciate you too, Jeff.
You're welcome. Welcome.
That's why I say you're such a blessing. You are such a blessing.
I really appreciate you reaching out too, Jeff. I know it meant a lot to my parents to be a part of that group message, and they just Thank you. We really appreciate it.
I absolutely did. I could cry right now just hearing that, because I did have a conversation with your mom, and the truth is, like, I for me, I didn't know what to say or what to do, and in the couple of times that I stopped over and saw, your dad, which is my uncle, and I would just sit there and we just talk and reminisce about everything. And um, I never had the courage to talk about Eric, and but now, because of this group and reaching out to you and talking with your mom, it gives me this courage and the strength to reach out to your brothers and sisters and do that. And that's the ultimate point of this whole entire show, is just reach out. And from what I've learned, not only from Maureen, Emily, and Deb, and now from Kayla, is if you just reach out, it will mean more to that person than you can ever imagine. And for me, like I said, when I got up to courage, I was sweating, I was nervous, I was checking everywhere to make sure I spelled it right, and the response was exactly what I wanted. And so here again, 6 people on a Friday in March, we're talking, we're sharing stories, we're making a difference. We're letting people know that just reach out, just say, hey, can we talk? Do you need to talk? What can I do? Let's get some coffee or whatever. So for all of that I just said, I just want to thank Kayla, Maureen, Emily, and Deb for giving me that strength to reach out more and to do this. So I thank you, and it's very powerful. And if I can do it, I know this is going to sound very bad. If I can do that, anybody can just reach out to somebody that they know that needs them.
Right. I
I
agree.
was gonna ask a question. You had mentioned that you did like a group chat with some friends to check on them, and I just want to ask a general question to everyone. If Do you feel like if you do a group chat, it's more effective than texting someone individually, because the other people in the chat can feel the tone of responses, and there's more people checking on each other?
I think for me, with with the rest of the cast, which we all grew up together, it's just our way of just checking in on each other on an everyday basis. And like, if somebody is off, or like, Becky says it the best, if she's posting a bunch of weird off the wall shit, we're contacting Becky and we're saying, hey, what's going on, what's wrong.
Right.
Right. And just like when I message, just like once every week or whatever, Maureen, Emily, and Deb, it's just my way of just saying, hey, are you guys good? Because even though this platform, I'm hoping, leads to a better financial life, we still care about everybody on this show. And I don't want to ever have anybody not feel, oh, I just went on the show and they don't care. I still check with previous guests just to make sure they're good, because the world needs more kindness. So to answer your question effectively, I think a mass text, yeah. Because I think if I sent out a mass text to the U5 ladies, and let's say Jen was having a bad day, but she didn't want to speak up and say, Maureen said, well, you know what, I'm not having the best day, that might give Jen the strength and the courage to open up as well. So yes, that's my opinion.
What do you think, Deb?
I think it can go both ways. I do. I think sometimes there's times, like within our group chat's the only one that I have going on, going through and doing that. Yeah, I can read different tones as to how you guys each reply back. And then I have individual conversations with all of you guys. So if I pick up on something from Maureen in the group, I might go into the, more than likely, I'll go over into the private conversation, depending upon what she says in the group, and say, hey, you doing okay? Or I got her and your numbers on speed dial, or I just give her a quick call.
I think that's
Because
fair.
you know me well enough. I don't, I like the person, the voice.
Yes, 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 yes.
Go ahead, Kayla.
In my experience, it's kind of been the same. It can go both ways. The group kind of message, you can find tones, but I have found in a lot of instances that group message is more of just kind of a blanket statement. So sometimes I will reach out to them individually just to check in even further, because sometimes you don't really want to put all your stuff out in a group chat. So it's I always kind of check in both ways.
Depends upon who all is in that group.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
See, and I have family. I have Smile Through the Storms family, and you guys are the ones that are in the group chat. For other situations, no, I use phone calls. That's me. I'm old fashioned. I don't do the tech world.
I like the old fashioned too, because I think it's so much more personal. And when you're talking to somebody, you can tell in their voice a lot
Right.
how they're feeling.
Right. It's like when I get on the phone with, one of you guys, I can hear it automatically in the voice. And then it's like, oh, I'm okay. No, really, what's going on? Now, how many times have I asked you ladies that? See, so,
Right, right. There's so much importance of just having weekly chats with people
yeah,
that you care about. That's just so valuable. I remember growing up, my dad used to call his parents every Sunday at 6 p.m. and they all look forward to catching up. That was back when you had to pay for long distance. But um, what can that do for someone? Just knowing, hey, we're going to catch up at this time on this day, and you look forward to it.
right.
Make it a habit.
That's actually an excellent point to make a date with somebody.
Yeah.
And so yes, definitely. Yeah.
And even nowadays, it doesn't have to be a phone, because look, you can do a Skype call, a video call, and actually see people who are halfway across the country. So see, that's even a step up. I can do those things.
So we're about 6 minutes away from the final ending of the show. What does anybody have to add in closing? Nobody is obligated to say anything. So I'm just going to open the floor. Jen? Oh, okay. Maureen?
I can't think of anything.
Kayla?
Thank you for letting me be a part of this. I think it's really important, and just having this available, because I did watch the last one you had done, and I think it's really important to discuss mental health more and to have it available on so many different platforms. I really appreciate what you're doing, Jeff.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Deb?
Oh, I've got lots. The people didn't want to talk. I'll share the time with Emily. People need to just take a moment when you're walking down the street and you see somebody who has pretty hair or a pretty shirt on, just those little, that's pretty, and you see a whole difference take place in their face. That person could be having the roughest day of their life, but if you take just that 30 seconds to say, golly, that's pretty, it changes. That's all people need to do. Start taking just a little bit of time. And like Emily said, be human.
Yes.
Have human feelings and treat people the way that you want to be treated. You want somebody to take the time with you, take the time with strangers.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a family member or a friend. Strangers are nothing more than people that you haven't met yet. Take them in.
I like that.
Okay, I'm done.
I think Kayla brought up a really good point when she said that, we just need to express empathy and acknowledge people's feelings.
Yeah.
And let them know that they're valid.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, I just want to, I repeat myself. I know that. So whoever is going to listen to this, whether it's on Amazon or Pandora or whatever, we get uploaded to like 9 different things, or whoever's going to watch this video when it gets uploaded, I just want you to know that here are 6 people talking about a very sensitive, important subject that needs to be in every conversation, and it should be okay to talk freely and openly. If 6 people from different walks of life can sit here on a Friday in March and not one person is offended, not one person is fighting and arguing, and everybody's listening and being respectful and helping one another. And as I have said, if it wasn't for Maureen, Emily, or Deb, I don't know if I would have had enough courage to reach out to Kayla and the rest of her brothers and sisters and parents. And when whoever hears what I just said, just listen to what these incredible people on this show just shared with you. They helped me reach out to my family that I was scared as hell to do, and it came back as a positive. And I'm going to upload all the Smile Through the Storms. I'm going to upload everything. Somebody who's listening, just reach out. I guarantee you, please listen to. I never thought I would reach out and write that message that I did to my family if it wasn't for the strength and the courage of Deb, Emily, and Maureen telling me that it's going to be okay. So if somebody as hard-headed as me can take the advice from those 3 ladies and it came as a positive, just do it. Listen to what these ladies are telling you. They are speaking from the heart. They are speaking from experience. Just reach out. And Kayla, I think that we need to set up a time to get together. I know busy schedules, but I think we should do it, and we should we should get together, a better family. And so
I agree. We don't do it enough at all. We really should. It's been a long time since I've seen you in person, so I think we should definitely do that. Mhm.
I just want to say thank you for sharing everything that you guys shared. I just know that there's going to be someone in a small town, just for whatever reason, listening, watching, and they're going to be like, wait a minute. Wow, I can reach out to people, and I know that Deb will answer her email. I know the Facebook, the YouTube, whatever, somebody will answer. So just reach out. You are safe. You are not alone. Together we're gonna get more people. We're gonna have 100 people on this show at one time, and we're gonna change the way this world is. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been JK'z Rewatch Power. I hope you enjoy the show, and just remember, you are not alone. Thank you all. I'm going to stop recording.